Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 3rd of June. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts, and not issue trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at CTM The Bigger Picture.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of a week. All right, we've seen an amazing couple of months. The market is up 16% on the SPX in 2 months, and that's happened 4 times before since World War II. The first one was after the oil shock, big oil shock in the 70s. And the second one, well, the third one was after the great financial crisis, just afterwards. The fourth one was just after COVID. And the second one was just before, a few months before Black Monday in 1987. So basically, we've only seen a move this strong after a very shortly after a major decline, i.e. in 1975, in 2009, in 2020, or not too far before a fairly major decline. It's which is the only instance. So this is just to show you how unusual this has been, and really to suggest that actually this is not healthy and is the sort of thing you might see before a significant decline, which is kind of what I'm expecting to see over the summer. So we shall see how that goes. But in the short term, still making new highs. No longer looks like double tops here on ES. On NQ, the same. On RTY, this still looks like a bull flag, and I'm still leaning towards seeing a retest of this high. On YM, YM has already retested the high and made a new all-time high a couple of times. No current signal. DAX, this looks like a bull flag forming, and this looks like an underthrow on that bull flag. On ESTX, again, bull flag looks like it is breaking up slightly. And on Nikkei, gone over my trend line slightly, might be forming another one. No current negative divergence. All right, but this has been a frankly amazing move, and we've broken up over. We had an opportunity to decline a couple of weeks ago. We had the breaks of the patterns. We had the head and shoulders, and it reversed up and went the other way. I'm watching out for the next one, and the next one might well deliver. So we shall see. All right, let's have a look at SPX. Right, looking at the daily charts, obviously we are over the main decline, the main resistance trend line here, and I'm treating this currently as a bearish overthrow, a likely one. We've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing. We've already got RSI 5 sell signals fixed on the daily. We could go up. This has been a very trending move. It could be that we're going to lose this divergence and kill this signal, but at the moment I'm not assuming that's going to be the case. We shall see. All right, in terms of the daily chart here, in terms of the Bollinger Bands, we're on an upper Bollinger Band right at the moment. We've completed 3 days. On the hourly chart, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing and a possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing. Now, one thing to mention is that we had yesterday and Monday were strongly bullish leading days. We've got a bearish leading day today, and a bullish leading day tomorrow, and a bearish leading day on Friday. Next week, again, we've got 2 bearish leading days and 3 bullish leading days. So we've got a lot of directional days coming up. I am thinking there's an opportunity to see some retracement here. Not sure we're going to see that immediately, but I'm watching out for it. I'm not saying that would be a major turn, but that could be the start of another topping process. In terms of the 15-minute chart, we're holding this rising support trend line so far from the late March low, and I'm not really expecting to see an immediate spike up here. We shall see. All right, looking at Qs. Qs were over the main resistance trend line as well. Again, we've got an daily RSI 14 sell signal brewing. Again, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. Again, we've got a possible hourly RSI 14 sell signal brewing. And we've got this channel from the late March low, and which is holding very well so far. But soon as and when that breaks, I'll be looking for the next opportunity to set up a topping pattern. In terms of the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. In terms of Dia has gone higher, and the weak RSI 5 daily sell signal is in some danger of failing. One reason put the commentary there to market. It's not very close to failing yet, but it's getting close. We're also at we've reached the obvious resistance trend line, which I marked in at the weekend. On the daily chart, we've got a possible RSI 14 sell signal brewing, and we will see how that goes. But here, this is the wedge for the move up from the late March low. We've got a decent looking resistance trend line there. Let's see how that looks on the hourly chart. So bear with me a moment. Nah, it needs to go up a little higher, I think. I'm thinking we might well see that today or tomorrow. We shall see, but that's where I'm looking for really, for the decent short-term pattern. We shall see. We're not really at the stage where I'm looking for a larger rising wedge from the April low. In terms of the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. We shall see. All right, looking at the IWM chart. Bear with me. All right, IWM, we've got a nice looking move, nice looking rising wedge again from the March low. We are overthrowing that slightly, and I'm leaning towards seeing a retest this high as the structure suggests that's what's going to be next. We've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the hourly. On the daily chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and if we see a retest of this high, we'll get another RSI 5 sell signal brewing. And I'm thinking we may well get that today. So overall, I'm thinking we might be getting to another topping opportunity, and obviously everything kicking off in the Middle East. But I think as we've been proceeding on this move, I don't think this is this move isn't really about what's happening in the Middle East. This is really about AI. And here, wait a second. This was my chart of the day on Monday. And this was showing that actually, if you strip out AI, we're just getting back up into a retest of the February highs on SPX. It's with AI, of course, it's up 10% over that. So this is basically all AI, all of this big move up. And the question is when that's going to finish. And that's a good question. DAX, leaning towards seeing a retest of this high. Nikkei has gone high enough already, can overthrow a bit. So no current divergence, but we could easily set some up with a pullback and a retest of the high. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX. Okay, DX, we had a double top breakdown. I was suggesting that might fail, and at the moment that's failing. So if we get back up into this high here in about the 99.545 area, that will have failed. If we assume oil going up and an increase in the crisis, so far that has led to a rise in the value of the dollar. In terms of the USD, this kind of looks like a bear flag forming. Keeping an open mind on GBP USD, but we've got an open target below in the 1.3234 to 1.3294 range. USD JPY still watching this IHS double bottom target with a target at a retest of the April high, which we haven't reached yet. USD CAD obviously reached the IHS target, pulled back, and it's going back up to the retest that high at the moment. Australian dollar, this is a possible head and shoulders forming. NZ, this is a possible double top setup. So decent looking setup here, but obviously would need some follow through. All right, US dollar. US dollar, we've got an RSI 5 sell signal fixed. Obviously, we've not delivered much to the downside. We've held the daily middle band of support. So at the moment, that's not playing out, but we might see another leg down to deliver that. That might be hard to do while we're seeing serious disruption in the Middle East. USD, obviously on the we've got a double top that broke down here. We've seen a sizable rally. In the event the dollar starts going up a lot, I'd expect that to resume and move towards these targets here in the 1.1019 to 1.10855 area. GBP USD, monthly looks like a bear flag. USD monthly looks like a bear flag. USD monthly looks like a bull flag, and we're waiting to see whether that will deliver. But if we can get back over this resistance here, sorry, hang on one second. sorry, no, this resistance here in the 164 area. If we can deliver sustained trade above there, I'd be looking for target in the 104.572 to 105.239 range. We shall see. In terms of the daily chart, GBP, nothing to see. USD JPY leading towards seeing a retest this high here at 162. Daily chart, no divergence there really. In terms of USD CAD, wondering about if we see a big move up on the dollar, I'm wondering about a retest of this 1.4793 area. Weak RSI 5 sell signal fixed on the daily chart, and waiting to see if that delivers anything. It's Australian dollar. Possible RSI 5 sell signal brewing on the monthly. On the daily chart, no current divergence. Possible large double top setup or part formed head and shoulders. NZ, trying to break up from this triangle, but I'm thinking if the dollar's going to have a big spike up, this is probably a bearish overthrow, and this would likely break down. In terms of the daily chart, nothing to see really. So, all right, great. Let's have a look at bonds. Now, bonds, I'm thinking of probably topping out here. We have a possible double top set up here on ZB, and we've got a possible head and shoulders forming on ZN. If we're going to see more oil upside, which at the moment I've got decent targets to see exactly that, then if we're going to see that, then I would expect bonds to start falling again. Let's have a look at that on the bigger picture. All right, we haven't got much in the way of signals on the bigger picture, but obviously we've seen a sizable rally in bonds and a decline in bond yields. Seeing a little positive divergence on the RSI 2, but really waiting to see divergence on the RSI 5, and we haven't got that yet. We might not get it, we don't always. In terms of the TNX chart, like TYX, we've got a big inverted head and shoulders forming. TYX is starting to break up slightly. TNX is still working its way back up into the neckline area, and a retest of this high here at 49.97. In terms of the weekly chart, nice triangle starting to break up but not followed through yet. Daily chart, no current divergence, and hourly chart, we've got a weak RSI 14 buy signal fix, suggesting that bonds down and yields up. We shall see. We're also coming off a nice looking support trend line here, although not as quite as nice looking as it appears on that chart because it's moved slightly. So bear with me a moment. We are breaking slightly under rising support here. Yeah, hasn't followed through yet, but it could. I don't have anything really on the bigger picture here in terms of signals suggesting a big move, but generally speaking, what we've seen so far with this Iran war was when we're in crisis mode, bonds have been tending to go down, not up. Looking at FVX, obviously breaking up from the triangle here. In terms of the TLT triangle, we're still testing triangle support. We've bounced since the last hit of it. If we're going to see bonds decline much further, obviously this support trend line is going to need to break. In terms of the daily chart, we've got no current divergence. In terms of the hourly chart, we did have an RSI 5 sell signal fixed, and that has obviously made target. We do have a potential double top forming here. All right, great. Let's move on to oil. Okay, oil. I was looking at the. Hope you caught my post yesterday talking about the oil trade, and that was at the stage we were down, obviously forming the right shoulder, and these right inverted head and shoulders that I was looking at yesterday morning have broken up. IHS has broken up here with a target in the 105.75 area. I'd be leaning towards that, retesting this high here at about the 108 area, and that has broken up very nicely. And CL has broken up very nicely with a target in the 103.1 area. I'm thinking that again might head up into the prior high, which I've got at about the 105.2 area, I think. No current negative divergence on these. HO, obviously we had an IHS as well. That has also broken up with a target in the 4.067 area, and that is almost at a retest of this high. So I'm really expecting it to get back to all those targets. Could it fail? Yes. Is it subject to news? Yes. But at the moment, things are developing pretty much as expected. And the obvious next move is to go back and retest these highs. I think we're likely on the way there. All right, looking at RBOB. RBOB, not really seeing anything similar. This kind of looks like a bear flag, actually. So it could, of course, be one. We shall see. And on NG, we've got, obviously, we had the double top. It broke down. It made target. And we're seeing a bit of a rally here. Might just be a 50% rally before it goes further down. I have to say, overall, looking at the pattern setup here, down would seem the obvious lean. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture on energies. All right. On WTIC, we had a nice looking IHS. This is the one I posted on my post yesterday. That's broken up now, and it's got a target in the 103.1 area. The main target would really be this rough triangle trend line, which I've got in the 105 area. In due course, I'm expecting this triangle to break up and deliver a retest of this high here at 117.64. In terms of where we are on the straight-forward moves, that's hitting a repeating a low I saw a couple of days ago, which is a 19% chance straight-forward moves traffic returns to normal by the end of June. But this was the spike in terms of peace talk spike, and we've given all of that back and more now. In terms of what's going through the straight-forward moves, not much. Almost nothing, really. So, and that's been the case since the war started. All right, looking at Brent, obviously on the bigger picture, I've still got a flag here with a target at a retest of the 134.91 area, and possible retests of the all-time high here at 147.50. I'm thinking we're probably going to go and retest both in the next few weeks. No current negative divergence on the monthly. We've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the weekly. This could be a double top, but I think under the circumstances, I think the chances of that being a double top, that actually has a chance of playing out at almost zero. In terms of the daily chart, we've got the RSI 14 sell signal has reached possible near miss target. And we are running from here. I haven't shown the inverted head and shoulders here because obviously it's just basically a variant of the one on WTIC, and I've already shown that here. In terms of WTIC, this is the rough triangle that I was showing, and I'm leaning towards it heading back up and seeing whether we will see a break up from here. In terms of heating oil, again, looks like a consolidation and bullish triangle. On gas oil, less obviously so, but nonetheless, I'm leaning towards that, seeing with the weak RSI 14 sell signal has now reached possible near miss target. In terms of natural gas, seeing a rally here, not got an obvious reversal pattern here, and we are testing the 200 DMA on the upside. This is an obvious area to fail, and I'm thinking it may well fail here. All right, great. Let's have a look at. All right, let's have a look at precious metals. All right, gold. This is a potential inverted head and shoulders forming, but it wouldn't be a particularly nice one. So we will see, but I am wondering about some potential here. Last time we saw oil rising strongly, we were seeing gold falling. I was saying then I wasn't sure that would remain the case, and it might well not remain the case. And at the moment, we are seeing. We're seeing a possible move that could take us in the opposite direction. What I was hoping was this would turn into a flight to safety trade, and that may be the case. All right, looking at SI, we got a potential double bottom here. Again, possible bullish setup. Palladium, possible double bottom setup. Platinum might be started with bottoming process, but if so, it's not obvious what that's going to develop into. HG, I was wondering about a retest of this high, and we are seeing a retest of this high. I think this could be giving us a nested double top. I'd like to see it ideally head up a little further to do a full retest. Okay, let's have a look at the metals, and looking at gold. Gold, overall, we've got a very nice bull flag here, and we're below the daily middle band, and if we are going to break up, then first thing to do is get back above the daily middle band. But I would love to see this become a flight to safety. I'd quite like to see crypto become a flight to safety, actually. But gold and the other precious metals first and foremost, and I think we might be seeing the start of that happening. I did say when it was happening, when we were having the initial crisis and gold was going down, that it might just be that this was something that gold was doing anyway because a bull flag was forming. I'm still wondering that. All right, looking at silver, and silver, we got a weak RSI, a possible weak RSI 5 buy signal brewing. Wondering about this little double bottom, we shall see. Looking at palladium, no current divergence, possible double bottom setup forming here. Ideally, that would have gone a little lower for that. Could be a bear flag too. In terms of platinum, no current divergence. we shall see. On copper, we are pretty close to the retest of the high I was thinking might happen, and this gives us potentially a nice looking nested double top. If we are going to start seeing real trouble on equity markets soon, and I'm still thinking that may well be the case, then this would be something I'd be looking for copper to play out. And first, this would be the first little double top to take us down to here, and then the second double top would take us down from here to, well, down about the 4 area, I think. I'd quite like to see that play out, and that does seem an obvious thing to play out. We shall see. Looking at GDX, still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed on the weekly, not really looking for that to deliver anything. So I was wondering if we'd see a retest this low. At the moment there's no sign of that doing that, and we've got a potential little double bottom here. On GDX, we shall see. GDXJ looks pretty similar. Short term looks very similar, actually. No current divergence on the hourly charts. On the daily charts, was wondering about a retest this low. We do have a potential in a little double bottom here, and I'm thinking we might see a decent rally here, so we shall see. I would like to see that because it would break the obvious correlation with basically as oil goes up, gold goes down. I would like that to be the other way around. All right, great. Let's have a look at the other commodities. All right, KC, possible double bottom here, but it's not looking as nice as it did. We do have a possible 60-minute buy signal brewing, which hasn't fixed yet. SB, triangle broke down, could be forming a larger pattern here, but until demonstrated otherwise, I think the obvious next target would probably be a retest of this low here in the 1340 area. Looking at CC, still got an open head and shoulder target down in the 3500 area, and I'm still wondering if that might make it. Lumber just heading sideways until we hit some choppier market action, and as and when that happens, I think the overall downtrend will resume. On CT, we've got, looks like a little bear flag forming. I'm thinking we may well be heading to retest this low first. Wheat, we are still continuing down. Corn, we're continuing down. Soy, we're continuing down. I'm a bit surprised to see these get as low as this, and I'm looking around for signs of possible reversal. On ZL, we've gone up to higher highs. Live cattle, possible head and shoulders forming here, and it may be ready to break down, so watching that with interest. HE, possible bottoming action, but this no longer looks like a double bottom. We do have a 60-minute buy signal fixed, and I'm waiting to see if that might deliver anything. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts there. Looking at coffee, on the weekly chart, we've broken below this support area here. It may be that we're going to continue down, so I'm watching out for signs of a rally, but at the moment I'm not really seeing a lot. Looking at sugar, we've got overall a bigger picture target down in the 9.05 area, but short term we've got a nice looking falling wedge that hasn't broken up yet, and looks like it might be seeing a reversal back up. We've got a weekly RSI 14 buy signal fixed, nothing really on the weekly chart, and I'm still wondering, even if we are bottoming here, whether we might be seeing a retest of this low to set up a nice looking second low of a double bottom. In terms of cocoa, we obviously had this wild move up here where that retraced most of it. We've been seeing a rally, but I'm kind of expecting to see retest the lows and probable continuation downwards after this rally. So has the rally ended is the question. In terms of the daily chart, we've got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, which is suggesting the rally may have ended. Looking at lumber, we've got a nice looking bearish set up here. Obviously, we've got a flag target down in the 35250 area. We've got a double top target down in the same kind of area. And the flag has been forming for 3.5 years and hasn't broken down yet. But I'm thinking as and when we see more serious trouble erupt in the Middle East, which does seem likely, then I'm thinking this downtrend will resume. In terms of lumber, short term, this kind of looks like a consolidation triangle. Might be setting up a retest this high here at 618.50. In terms of cotton, we've been seeing a sharp retracement after we made the double bottom target. Not seeing anything suggesting this doesn't resolve further up. Nothing on the daily chart in terms of divergence. On wheat, on the weekly chart, we've broken up from the double bottom. We're seeing a sharp retracement. That's not unusual. Again, nothing to suggest this doesn't resolve higher. On the daily chart, no current divergence apart from the RSI 14 sell signal, an old one which fixed. We may be heading out towards that, but as long as we respect this low here at 56750, I'll be assuming we'd be returning for at least a retest of this high. In terms of corn, we've got a nice looking double bottom here, which hasn't broken up yet. We've been seeing a sharp retrace. We've got a weak RSI 14 sell signal fixed here, and we do have a potential level top setup, which is trying to break down. I'm not expecting this to deliver a big move down. I could, of course, be mistaken. Looking at soybeans, nice looking inverted head and shoulders here, which hasn't broken up yet. Waiting to see if that's going to. This kind of looks like a bull flag consolidation of some kind happening on the daily chart. All right, great. Let's have a look at crypto. All right. Looking at Bitcoin, we have finally broken down from this. So we've been forming, obviously, from the February lows, we've been forming a almost 4-month bear flag, but that finally broke down in the last day or two. And we've got a head and shoulders here, which I marked in as having a target in the 65,000 area. We have practically made that target. So, but at the moment, we've now got all these bear flags have broken down. We might see some short-term rallies, but really the bigger picture, I'm looking for retests of the February lows, which is 60.1K on Bitcoin. On Solana, and that's at 67.65. On Ethereum, that is at a retest of 1746.93, and these are all well on the way. I'm thinking we're going to see those tests sooner rather than later. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I will catch you guys again on Sunday. All right, cheers.